Shall we now have Honorable Mutua Barasa?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity also to add my voice on this bill. And I want to say that I support this bill. And let me take a few minutes to talk about what I think is not good and need to be changed either through amendments, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to say that the economy of this country is driven by SMEs. And the proposal to include digital marketing and outside catering to be within the tax brackets, Honorable Speaker, will completely hurt this subsector. Because, Honorable Speaker, I want to bring to the attention of the House that these small SMEs, they are very fragile. And the only way that the government can guard and protect and nurture them to grow, Honorable Speaker, is not to tax them. And this is going to affect very many Kenyans who really depend on their small businesses to support their families, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, a country like Kenya, a country whose economy is growing, should be able to design their tax regime to be in a way that they tax the big boys more to support the people of this country who live below the poverty line, Honorable Speaker, and that they are engaged in small businesses of groceries to survive, Honorable Speaker. I don't see why a government can decide to propose deletion of a section in the Banking Act that regulates the interest rates, Honorable Speaker. Banking business is very lucrative. They make abnormal profits, Honorable Speaker, on a daily basis. And these are the institutions that Kenyans should tax, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I am very worried that the government of the Republic of Kenya has failed to provide enabling environment for companies to thrive. In the recent past, Honorable Speaker, we have seen very many companies closing their shops in this country, closing their branches in this country, downsizing their operations, going to invest elsewhere in neighboring countries because the environment in this country of doing business is not good, it's very expensive. And these are the people who could have eased the burden of taxations on the common mwananchi, on the small people of this country, Honorable Speaker. So even as we grow, as we move forward as a country, there is need to have a national conversation on how we can improve the environment of doing business so that we can attract very many foreign investors who are going to contribute to the economy of this country through taxation, and by so doing, lessen the burden that the Kenyans have to bear to be able to give the government money to fund all their programs, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we need a conversation again. It appears like the people who are advising government on matters of taxation are sleeping on their job. It appears that they are not taking much time to do research in terms of coming up with a tax regime that is not oppressive. And Honorable Speaker, therefore, this necessitates need for us to have a national dialogue, a national conversation on how we can improve our tax regime. Because I fully agree that government needs money to fund programs, and this money must come in the name of taxes, but we must also agree that we must protect fragile businesses, startups, because the research indicates that 90% of small businesses that are initiated by Kenyans collapse barely after 6 months because of the cost of doing business being very high, Honorable Speaker. So this is really something that the government needs to consider, to be able to tap into the expertise of the private sector, to tap into the expertise of even National Assembly, to tap into the expertise of very many Kenyans on how to get more money so that the government can fund her programs without necessarily approving this oppressive tax regime, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I would also want to say that the Kenya Revenue Authority is also to blame for these oppressive tax regimes because they are collecting efficiencies very low, Honorable Speaker. And we also need to have a conversation and really audit the Kenya Revenue Authority in terms of their commitments because they usually commit themselves to collect these taxes, but at the end of the day, it appears that we have pilferages within the Kenya Revenue Authority because if they collect the money from Kenyans and they do not remit this money to government, it will mean that going forward into the future, the government must also increase the taxation on Kenyans, on businesses, to be able to fund their program, Honorable Speaker. I also want to say that, the government has also become very over-ambitious by coming up with very many projects which must be funded, Honorable Speaker. The government is not living within its means. So this means that if they come up with ambitious budget proposals, then when it comes to looking for money, they are digging deeper into the pockets of Kenya's, Honorable Speaker. And I say so because there are very many available ways and means of raising more revenue for government. I sit with most of my friends who likes drinking beer, who likes smoking cigarettes, and they are also looking for a way to stop drinking and stop smoking, Honorable Speaker. How I wish that the government can assist them by increasing taxation on beer, increasing taxation on Glenfiddich, increasing taxation on cigarettes, Honorable Speaker, because if we all agree that more than 50% of health problems that Kenyans experience or Kenyans go through as a result of drinking and smoking, but we are not assisting Kenyans to quit this business. So I really want to say that we have a lot of information that we can assist the government to improve their tax regimes by even suggesting more taxation on luxuries, Honorable Speaker, because luxuries are not important. There is no Kenyan who will die because he is unable to fund some of the luxury things. But Kenyans will have a problem if the very basic commodities, the very basic activities that will assist them to get money and buy food for their families is being curtailed by this high taxation, Honorable Speaker, because it doesn't make sense that you are not increasing taxation on beer, you are not increasing taxation on cigarettes, but you want to bring tax to these small women groups who engage in outside catering, to these small, the young boys and girls, women who are engaging in online marketing, selling their small, groceries, small clothings online, Honorable Speaker. I think as a country, and I want to appeal to the government, that they need to do more in terms of getting expertise, in terms of getting advice on how they can improve the tax regime. What this country has achieved in the last 15 years, Honorable Speaker, is going to be drained by deleting of the section that will not cap interest rates, Honorable Speaker. And I want to summarize by saying that you can be a very good evangelist, you can be a very good bishop, but the day you sin, you lose all the glory of God. This bill is good, but a few sections will make this country lose the focus and lose all the gains that we have attained as a country for the last 15 years. I will be looking forward to support the amendments to improve this bill further, Honorable Speaker. I think.